Hey, this is Greg Capullo coming at you live, and you're watching BatFacts. The end!
Thanks, Greg. Welcome back to BatFacts. This episode, we begin the Robins, a 5-part look at the various characters who've taken over the role of Robin over the years, as a launching pad for larger themes like age, death, gender, loyalty, and legacy. I'll be spending the even-numbered episodes on this series and odd-number episodes on regular BatFacts. Let's dive in. Sidekicks. Say what you will about Watson, Samwise, Tails, Cliff Booth, or Ed McMahon. For my money, Robin is inarguably the quintessential sidekick. The first, longest, and most well-known Robin is Dick Grayson. The genesis for Batman's sidekick came in 1940. Batman was the hit that Bob Kane had promised DC Comics, and soon their flagship Detective Comics title was primarily a showcase for his adventures. Already employing Bill Finger as a writer, Bob Kane begins hiring other artists to work on the title, all signing their artwork as Bob Kane, including Sheldon Moldoff. Superheroes still being a relatively new concept, Moldoff tells Kane about an idea for a young boy superhero, one whose perspective their target audience could relate to. Soon thereafter, Mercury the Boy Wonder was born, soon changed to Robin at the behest of Jerry Robinson, who gave the young sidekick a Robin Hood-inspired look. You can't really say he took it from me, because you don't know he wasn't thinking the same thing at the same time, a remarkably diplomatic Moldoff said of the creation of Robin in Batman: The Complete History. Officially credited to Kane, Bill Finger, and Jerry Robinson, and introduced in 1940's Detective Comics number 38, Robin was introduced to help lighten the dark tone of Batman's early adventures, as well as other more practical reasons like having a character that Batman could have expository dialogues with.
Why are you telling me all this?
It's plot exposition. It has to go somewhere.
Robin was an outgrowth of a conversation I had with Bob. The thing that bothered me was that Batman didn't have anyone to talk to, and it got a little tiresome always having him thinking. I found that as I went along, Batman needed a Watson to talk to. That's how Robin came to be. Bob called me over and said he was going to put a boy in the strip to identify with Batman. I thought it was a great idea, said Batman co-creator Bill Finger. Dick Grayson was a young working-class circus acrobat, part of the Flying Graysons along with his parents Mary and John, traveling the country with Haley's Circus. When the circus refuses to pay protection money to mobster boss Tony Zuko, Zuko sabotages the Flying Graysons' trapeze ropes, causing them to fall to their deaths, leaving young Dick the sole survivor. In the audience that night was billionaire Bruce Wayne, who, seeing much of himself in Dick, adopts the boy as his ward. Tragedy befalls Dick at nearly the same age as Bruce, both orphaned by crime. Primarily motivated by revenge on Zuko, young Grayson soon begins training under the tutelage of Batman himself, and after a candlelight oath is read, Robin is born. It took only 3 pages for Dick to go from orphaned acrobat to one half of the dynamic duo, but it has had many retellings in all forms of media since the story was first published in 1940. The meeting of the dynamic duo is typically said to have happened during the 3rd year of Batman's crime-fighting career. Over the years, different interpretations are made, but the core details remain intact. Batman Year 3, the third in the pseudo-series overseen by editor Denny O'Neil, was meant to update Batman's origin in the late 80s. Written by Marv Wolfman, this series didn't simply tell a story that took place during Batman's 3rd year, but had a series of flashbacks framed by a modern story starring Batman and Nightwing, more on him later, that sees Boss Zuko paroled and returns to Gotham. Batman the Animated Series would use this same format for their Robin origin story, the 2-part Robin's Reckoning episodes. Played by national treasure Tom Wilson.
What are you looking at, butthead? Say hi to your mom for me.
Boss Zuko is paroled and sought out by Robin, seeking revenge, while flashbacks tell us a PG-rated version of his tragic origin story with the Flying Graysons. The most popular latter-day retelling of Dick Grayson's origin comes from Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's Dark Victory. This 14-issue maxi-series was a sequel to 1997's Long Halloween, continuing the downfall of Harvey Dent and the eventual rise of Robin. Artist Tim Sale notes in the trade paperback introduction that he initially was against the prospect of introducing Robin into he and Loeb's world. Batman is a loner. What sense did it make for him to have a companion? Or for us to give him one? Jeff's answer lay in contrast. His depiction of Dick was an extroverted, talky little kid, and the conflicts in personality that arose from that made sense to me. Loeb proved correct, and the two went on to create an unforgettable origin story for Robin. But Sale wasn't alone in that skepticism of the character. Notable Batman filmmakers like Tim Burton and Christopher Nolan have chosen not to include Robin in their takes on the character, and Matt Reeves would appear to be following suit. In 1992, Burton's Batman Returns caused such a problem for McDonald's with its lack of marketability, the promotional partner ended up getting script approval for the third film. But that's another episode altogether. The point is, once again, just like the comics, Robin is introduced to lighten the tone. The film was, of course, 1995's Batman Forever, directed by Joel Schumacher and starring Val Kilmer, Jim Carrey, and Tommy Lee Jones. The film also introduces Chris O'Donnell as Dick Grayson, in what is thus far Robin's only big-screen origin. There are a few differences in this version. There are 4 flying Graysons. They're not victims of failed extortion, but rather die heroically attempting to save the circus audience from Two-Face. And the other thing is, Dick Grayson is a grown man. Yes, a grown man that can ride a motorcycle and do kung fu laundry, but a grown man all the same. Dick Grayson's original intent as a character was to be relatable to the young audience, and thus they kept his exact age ambiguous, but he was always the boy wonder. In 1942's Batman number 10, Robin celebrates a birthday that indicates that he's 8 years old, despite there being 14 candles on the cake. The animated series version of this character is credited at age 10. All-Star Batman and Robin often and emphatically reminds the audience that Dick Grayson is 12. Chris O'Donnell was 25 years old when he played the Boy Wonder. Val Kilmer was only 36. This sort of changes the dynamic of the dynamic duo. Burt Ward on the 1966 series was 21. Origins and retellings aside, Robin remained by Batman's side for decades of adventures in Batman and Detective, as well as his own adventures in Star-Spangled Comics. Robin's introduction paved the way for a plethora of copycat young sidekicks, including Bucky, Speedy, Aqualad, and the boy sidekick became a trope of superhero comics. Updated modern tales of Robin's formative years would come in books like the stylish Robin Year One, written by Chuck Dixon and Scott Beatty and illustrated by Javier Pulido, as well as The Gauntlet, released in 1997 by Bruce Canwell and current Batman artist Lee Weeks, which tells the tale of Robin's final night of training. The next evolution of Dick Grayson would come in 1964 with a pair of events that would change Robin forever. Julia Schwartz's New Look initiative, along with giving Batman his yellow oval, would age up the Boy Wonder, from a young boy to a teenager, giving him different hair, longer legs, and a longer tunic to help show movement. Also in 1964, some 2 years after the debut of the Justice League, Robin, Kid Flash, and Aqualad would team up in the Brave and the Bold number 54 in what would be a precursor to forming their own team, the Teen Titans. The Teen Titans would officially debut in Brave and the Bold number 60, with the addition of Wonder Woman's younger sister Donna Troy to the team. Because of his extensive training under Batman, Robin is considered best suited to lead the team, and their own title would debut in 1966. Robin had gone from Boy Wonder to Teen Sidekick to Team Leader, but the biggest jump was yet to come. Because also debuting in 1966 was easily the character's most widespread portrayal on the twice-weekly ABC television show starring Adam West. Cast as Robin after a star-making audition was unknown young actor Burton Jervis, later known as Burt Ward. The actor delivered over 400 holy exclamations over the show's 120-episode run, becoming one of the show's most memorable catchphrases and becoming synonymous with the character.
Holy rusted metal, Batman! Huh? The ground, it's all metal! It's full of holes, you know?
The show was a massive hit, and the movie premiered that summer. But audiences are fickle, and after 3 seasons, Batman had fizzled out and was canceled by ABC in 1968. Waiting in the wings, however, was Filmation, who produced the Batman-Superman Hour from 1968 to 69, starring radio legend and voice of Shaggy, Casey Kasem, as Robin. Back in the comics, in 1969, Dick Grayson made perhaps the biggest change since his introduction. He became a freshman at Hudson University, leaving behind Bruce and Alfred in Gotham. Batman once again became a lone vigilante, investigating grisly murders and surveilling the streets of Gotham from above via the Penthouse, his new base of operations. Robin would still appear on an occasional basis, but for all intents and purposes, after nearly 30 years of the dynamic duo, Batman and Robin had split, and Robin had grown up. In an industry that has a complex relationship with concepts like time and age, having a character age up is a bold move, and one that has rarely been repeated, even to this day.
I get older, they stay the same age. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
As of 1970, Robin would be officially credited as Robin the Teen Wonder, finally acknowledging Robin to be deep into his teen years. Robin would make his return to TV in 1973 as a member of the Super Friends, in the beloved Saturday morning cartoon from Hanna-Barbera and action figure line from Kenner. Filmation would take another crack at Batman in 1977, reuniting Adam West and Burt Ward for a short-lived animated outing. Meanwhile, Hanna-Barbera's Super Friends ran various incarnations until 1985. In 1980, DC Comics launched the New Teen Titans, written by Marv Wolfman with art by George Perez. The launch of the Teen Titans was something of a response to the popularity of Marvel's The X-Men, which also showcased teenage heroes. As with its predecessor, the series focused on age-appropriate concerns, including a budding romance between Grayson and Starfire, which continues in depictions of Teen Titans to this day, such as Teen Titans Go!
Starfire, will you be my Valentine?
Of course!
The New Teen Titans grew to be DC Comics' most popular series, with Robin being the team's most popular member. While the popularity was great for the character, it also created a rift between audiences. An entire generation of readers since 1969 had known Batman as a lone vigilante, and Robin largely off of his adventures with the Teen Titans, and yet the general public still expected to see Robin by Batman's side, especially thanks to extended runs of the Super Friends and reruns of the 1966 television show. DC sensed a demand for the dynamic duo, featuring a younger, less experienced Robin, but Wolfman and Perez weren't keen on undoing several years of successful character development simply to satiate the public's inferred appetite for nostalgia. A compromise had to be made. I said, "You can have Robin, but I keep Grayson. You can get attention by having a new character take on the sidekick role." They loved it. Since we'd been leaning on Robin to become an adult and out of those stupid green shorts, this worked out perfectly for all of us, said Wolfman in Batman, The Definitive History. So plans were put into place, and by February 1984, the New Teen Titans had entered its climactic story arc, the monumental Judas Contract. The story saw the Titans face off against BatFacts Episode 8 subject, Deathstroke, and saw their leader, Dick Grayson, abandon his Robin persona, at long last stepping out from behind the shadow of Batman to become Nightwing. That very same month in the pages of Batman, a new dynamic duo was introduced, Batman's second Robin, Jason Todd, which will be the subject of Part 2 of The Robins. Of course, Dick Grayson has gone on to have many personas, primarily Nightwing, but also Agent 37, Rick Grayson, and even Batman on a couple of different occasions. In less than 10 years from this video's publication, Dick Grayson will have not been Robin for longer than he's ever been Robin. But that part of his story will be left for another day. We're going to leave it there. What do you think Dick Grayson adds to Batman? What's your favorite Robin story? Discuss it in the comments below. You know the drill. Tell a friend who likes Batman. Stay tuned for episode 17 of BatFacts, where I'll be talking about Flashpoint Batman. And then come back for episode 18, part 2 of The Robins, Jason Todd, the Robin that died. Some Bat time, same Bat channel. Thanks for watching.